Hi, buddies. Welcome to Emergency Pineapple Studios, where I happen to talk about things that I love, and hopefully you might too. And since it's Tuesday, I'm going to be talking about movies. Well, it's Tuesday when I release this, but regardless. So today I'm actually going to refer to about how I rate movies. Since there are many reasons why people love certain movies over others, I wanted to try to make a system so I can support all type of movie lovers. So when I go to review movies, I'm going to be using a five-star system, which encompasses about five main qualities that I look for in a good film. Also, just to point out that whether or not I love a film does not necessarily mean it is a good film. Sometimes there are movies that I happen to love that are genuinely awful films. And sometimes there are films that I really don't like that are very well made or are artistically great. So, again, this system is dedicated to all types of movie lovers, but I'm going to say that I will also tell you if I like the movies or not. So, without further ado, let's go into this star system. All right, so star one is production value. Production value is how well a film is actually made in its production or post production. This will include things like its lighting, editing, sound, acting, anything at all that has to do with the physical creation of the film. You'd think that this wouldn't need to be on one of the stars, but it actually is really important because if your production value isn't very good, it doesn't matter about the rest of the stuff because it will just be unwatchable. So, in my opinion, if a film has good production value, then it's gonna be watchable. It's gonna be enjoyable. It's gonna flow nicely, and it can actually be really unique. A lot of times, really good films have good production value, and then they kind of play with it a little bit, especially in the editing department. So, in this regard, this is actually the easiest star to get, but if you don't get this one, in my opinion, it's hard to make up for it, because sometimes this is like a deal breaker for a lot of people. So the second star is entertainment value. Where production value is the actual physical creation of a film, entertainment value instead is, did it do its job in entertaining? Movies are meant to be entertainment. You go to the movies to be entertained. But in order to get this star, you really have to focus on two things. One, audience enjoyment. Did the audience walk away feeling like it was worth the time to go watch the movie? Or, in the secondary case, was it on point in their genre? There are just certain things in certain genres that you kind of come to expect. And if I'm not walking away from a movie feeling entertained, sometimes it makes me not like the movie. Because some people like it for an artistic flair, but some people really just want a good escape or just to feel happy or cathartic or whatever they're going to the movies for. So keep this in mind for some movies, is that some movies where they may not be excellent works of art, they are incredibly entertaining. Star 3 is story, and I'm going to be honest, this is my favorite of the stars, and honestly could make or break a movie for a lot of people. Is you go to the movies to watch a visual story. Every part, everything about this movie is telling the story of a particular character or set of characters and how they progress through whatever challenges in life. And to be honest, this is why I go to the movies. Is I go for a good story. Like, tell me a story about a young boy becoming a man. Tell me a story about a girl slaying monsters. Tell me the story of a place that has meaning to a lot of people. No matter what it is, a good story really makes for a good movie. Now, for this, again, two parts to think about. The first is it an original story? Is your original story concept one that I go, that was very intriguing. This is an intriguing idea. I'm going to go watch this. I want to see what happens. The other kind of story is movies do adaptations in which you have taken something that already exists that people already love, and now you're making it into a movie so that they can experience this thing that they already love in a new format. And if you don't tell a good story, you're not going to have a really good movie. Like, your movie's almost somewhat pointless. Now, sometimes that's the point of the movie, is to be a storyless movie and be pointless, but I really like a good story. I know other people do too. The fourth star in my category kind of ties in with star 3 with the story, but this one is artistic creativity. And what I mean by this is, these are the movies that are a little out there. Because there are some movies, generally, that are, like, you kind of know what's going to happen in the movie. Most action movies, you kind of have the idea what you're there for. You're there to see the epic fights, the blowing up. For horror movies, you kind of get what you want to know. You have the monster that's trying to scare you. But sometimes these movies aren't really, like, creative or fun because there's nothing new. Nothing new to try. So you think. Artistic creativity for this star is those movies that are kind of out there. They, like, the concept itself is like, ooh, this is really interesting and unique. So I'm going to go and watch to see what this unique thing, and what is this experience for me. A good idea to think about for movies like this are things like Inception or Memento is another one that I can think of. And in recently we've got the movie Here, which is a unique experience, and all of them kind of like, usually they're playing with something. Artistic movies are really playing with either editing, color schemes. Sometimes they're playing with music, but this is a movie where you can actually get where film is art. It's got to be unique. It's got to be creative. And to be honest, sometimes those really creative and unique features of certain movies can add to the entertainment value and even, like, the production value. I will tell you right now, where you can have a bad production value and still have good entertainment, you cannot have a bad production value and a good artistic value. To be honest, those two kind of go hand in hand. The artistic is more about, like, I'm trying something new and I'm a unique as an artist. Whereas the production value is, unfortunately, the cold logic of, are the lights in the right place and set nice? But overall, film and movies are art, no matter what. So seeing any form of creativity happen in a movie is well worth the watch, and I think needs to be recognized. So the final star is memorability. And it's one of the more important ones that people kind of forget is, was the film memorable, or did it have a factor that was memorable? Sometimes a film is memorable because of a specific line, maybe a specific shot, maybe a specific song, or their music is amazing. Sometimes it's just all around memorable, like there's something about it is either famous or infamous. Like, sometimes a movie isn't memorable just because it did really well. Sometimes it's just because, oh wow, this was so bad. And sometimes it's more of a, did this line say something that was very much a, ooh, I can apply this to my life, or is this like something you can make a meme out of? Regardless of that, if a movie isn't memorable and people don't remember it, then it's kind of forgettable. Like, you watch one time, and then you just don't watch it again. Some movies are so memorable that you watch them once, and then again, and again, and again, because you just love them that much. Maybe it's just that memorable. So, regardless of the fact, memorability is definitely a big factor for movies. With all that being said, those are the 5 things I'm going to be looking at when I review a movie, and that will determine whether or not I think a movie is a good movie or not. In my opinion, to be considered a good movie, you have to have at least 3 of those categories. To be a great movie, you have to have 4. To be an excellent movie, you have to have 5. So honestly, it's not hard to get to being good. It's just hard to be great or excellent. 2 or less, sorry, it's a bad movie. So thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe down at the bottom. And I will be here almost like every other Tuesday just to talk about movies. So, see you next time. And, all right, go to the movies!